Hello and welcome back. Today I'll be doing a video on the 2022 Senate election prediction. Yesterday was the Virginia governor election where the Republican Glenn Youngkin was able to flip the seat, and now the Republicans have taken the governorship, the lieutenant governorship, and the attorney general position, as well as the House of Representatives out there, and almost narrowly in New Jersey flipping the governorship to the Republicans. So now I'll be doing an election prediction on the Senate after these massive shifts. So now I'm going to start with filling in the safe seats. I haven't done one of these videos in some time now, and a lot has changed since my first and second, I think, Senate prediction. So Idaho, Utah, North and South Dakota, Kansas, Oklahoma, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Indiana, Kentucky, Alabama, South Carolina are all safe states for the Republicans, giving them 44. Iowa moving from likely to safe with Chuck Grassley announcing he will run for re-election. Moving on to the Democrats, Washington, California, Hawaii, New York, Vermont, and Maryland going in the safe column, putting them at 42. Previously, I had them at 45, I believe. Moving back to the Republicans, Florida, Rubio will have no issue down there. This was my prior prediction as well. North Carolina, Ted Budd is going to have a lot easier way to victory on the betting odds. It shows that he now has a strong 75% chance of victory. The Republicans out there. A big boost from last night before it was around mid 60%, which I would have said more in the lean column, but likely column now. I believe the Democrats will move some of their focus away from there. Ohio, I believe either Mandel or J.D. Vance for the Republican nominee out there. Vance will probably be a better candidate than Mandel for the Republicans, more aligning with the Trump doctrine, even though he opposed Trump in 2016. His values definitely line up more than Mandel's to Trump. Mandel being more of an establishment type candidate, and Ohio being more of a populist conservative state. They've had Rob Portman for a while, but he more aligned with the establishment out there, even though he's had massive victories. I believe the state has shifted more to a populist position. Now the Republicans at 47. I'm going to also give them Wisconsin now in the likely margin with a big shift over there as well. Let me pull it up here also on the betting odds. Wisconsin already being held by Ron Johnson. Some of the shift has also been moved away from there, I believe, after this election yesterday. Where's Wisconsin here? Here it is. So now almost a 70% chance of victory for the Republicans. A massive shift from like a lean tilt area to a likely margin now. Wisconsin, it's been trending to the right. Even in 2020, I believe it trended to the right because the partisan shift was 2, but in Wisconsin, it shifted 1.2% towards the Democrats. So technically, it moved roughly 1 point further right in 2020, and it's going to continue that shift, as well as a lot of suburban voters favor Johnson out there over Trump in Wisconsin, on top of a even further shift back from the suburban voters being more in the middle towards back on the right, seen in Virginia's northern suburbs, and also with the New York City suburbs in New Jersey shifting towards the Republican out there. So now, I forgot to mention Alaska as well. This one could go safe, but I don't know yet what's going to go on here with Lisa Murkowski. I believe she'll win re-election, but it's going to come down probably to 2 Republicans out there. So now Republicans at 49, only 2 away from winning the Senate majority. Going back to the Democrats, Oregon, this is going to shift down to a little more narrow race with less Democratic turnout. and increased Republican turnout. The state went to Biden by about 17 points, and I believe it'll probably go to the Democrats by like 13. Illinois is going to also narrow down. It was about 17 points in 2020, and a suburban shift towards the right will push the state a little bit closer, probably by 11, 12 points to the Democrat, Tammy Duckworth, if she runs for re-election. In Connecticut, this one also will narrow down a little bit. Connecticut was a little bit more competitive in 2016 than 2020. 2020 was about an 18-point victory for Biden, and it'll probably go down to about a 13-point victory for the Democrats this time around. Now putting them at 45. Going back to the Republicans for lean margins, Georgia, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Nevada flipping with increased Republican turnout, as well as being very close in 2020 with a 2-point shift to the right. Also with now in the betting odds taking the lead, going from low 40s, high 30s up to high 50s, and Democrats having mid to low 60s and then dropping to low 40s. Nevada, I believe, a state that Biden won by 2 points, is very, very, very possible for the Republicans to be able to flip it with Laxalt. If a Republican won Virginia, which went to Biden by about 10 points, and winning it by 2, a 12-point shift, I believe Republicans will be able to flip Nevada, a 2-point margin for Biden. Going into the lean states for the I did not cover some of these other ones. Georgia, Herschel Walker now getting support by the establishment and the populist wing of the party, and now having a massive shift to the right and the odds there as well. This is a state that Biden won by only 0.3%, I believe, or 0.2%. With increased turnout, it's definitely going to flip, and Herschel Walker getting a lot of name recognition now. Trump doing a rally out there for him, as well as now the establishment of the party also supporting him. So there's going to be no real issue for him to gain the nomination and get an early lead on the race out there. In Pennsylvania, Sean Parnell being early supported by Donald Trump Jr. and then Donald Trump. He did very well in his House election out there during the 2020 election. He came in by 2 points from Conor Lamb, and Donald Trump, he outperformed there as well in a suburban area. So I believe he'll be able to take some of those suburban voters that are a little bit more in the middle, as well as get the Trump base out. Kind of like Glenn Youngkin did in Virginia, but not to that margin. He'll probably win it by about 2 points, Pennsylvania. In New Hampshire, Christian Sununu is probably going to run. He has a very high chance he will be out there, and if he runs, I believe the state's going to have no issue for him out there. Now having a 55% chance of victory, and even before the Virginia race, it just has been slightly above the Democratic odds out there. Chris Sununu being the governor of New Hampshire and winning handedly in almost the last 2 elections. Going to the Democrats now, Colorado. This one's probably going to go down to about 4 to 5 points. I don't really see it being too competitive unless a strong candidate is to run out there. But the odds have shown getting tighter, going from 5 points to 20 points to the Republicans, and like 90 down to 80. So there is some shifting out there, but it really depends on the Republican candidate, because this one could go either in the lean or likely column. It'll probably be 5 points exactly, which is not too good for the Republicans, considering Colorado was competitive in the past and still maintaining a pretty strong Democratic position. Going into Arizona, this one I'm going to give tilts to the Republicans. Democrats have a quite strong candidate out there, Mark Kelly, but I believe this state will shift back slightly to the Republicans. Biden winning it by 0.2%, Mark Kelly winning it by about 1-2 points. and not really sure who the nominee is going to be out there. It's been a pretty close in the odds with Mark Bernikov and Blake Masters, so it really depends on that too. Arizona in the betting odds also has shifted back to the right for the first time so far, going from a high 30 to 40% margin and all the way up to a 56%. Democrats were in the mid to low 60s and then dropped all the way down to mid 40s. With great improvements in the suburban areas, Arizona is really decided by the suburbs. We saw in Phoenix area going to Biden by about 2 points, and that was enough to push the state into his column. But 0.2% in a Republican wave year is not going to do it for them. So at the end of the day, the Republicans will flip 4 seats: Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and New Hampshire, and maintain all their current seats. Thank you for watching. Please go subscribe and like the video. I'll be creating more content now and probably start some more live streams, similar setup to the one that was yesterday, and I hope to see you all on there. Thank you for watching.